Welcome to the 5-Minute Insight. Today we're going to be talking about problem solving. It saddens me greatly to see people really suffering and burdened down by their problems, when in reality, every problem should be viewed as a challenge, an opportunity to change, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to find self-fulfillment and happiness. But we interpret this incorrectly, and that's why we suffer. So what can we do about that? How can we view all our problems as challenges and positive things in our lives rather than negative? How can we rise above our personal circumstances to be objective? And therefore, we can see the opportunity that is inherent in that adversity. The answers are always within. Our problem is that we live like an external life where our focus is always on the outside rather than on the inside. So if we change the direction and start looking within ourselves, we will find those answers because they are inherent within us. Divinity does not give us problems to punish us. In some sense, it's like a form of education. We're learning, we're growing, and we are unfolding. And meditation is the perfect tool to achieve this. As we go beyond the surface levels of the mind and we dive deep within, one amazing factor that rises within us is the ability to be objective. We're standing aside, we're observing ourselves, we're observing our thoughts and therefore our behavior and our actions. But we do it with greater self-awareness. Before meditating, we didn't have that objectivity. And often that's why we suffer. So through that process of unfoldment, as we meditate, we're becoming more objective. Having that greater self-awareness, we can see the situation in which we're placed with so much more clarity. And in doing so, we will find the solution that is inherent therein. One thing we need is to have a much clearer mind. This can only come when the mind is at peace. One of the most profound benefits of meditation is to bring that deep and profound peace into your life. Not only do we feel that peace while we're meditating, but as we become more experienced, that peace expands itself into our waking state. So the 12 hours, 18 hours that we're awake, we're connected to that level of peace within ourselves. This helps stop mind chatter, and of course it brings such clarity that when we're looking for a resolution to a problem, we will see it there in front of us. Because as I said before, within that adversity is an opportunity inherent. The problem wouldn't have arisen if it wasn't necessary for us to have this experience. So therefore, by turning our attention within ourselves, we have greater clarity, we experience profound peace, and everything becomes so much more clearer. One profound benefit of meditating regularly is that deep experience of peace. Not only do we feel that peace during meditation, as we descend from the surface conscious level of the mind into those deeper recesses, but this peace begins then to exude itself into the periods we're outside of meditation. So we're meditating for 20 to 30 minutes, but that peace remains with us for many, many hours. One benefit of that peace is greater clarity of mind. We immediately become more objective. It's like we have greater self-awareness. We're looking at ourselves. It's as if we've stood back and we're observing ourselves. This is very useful because we can change our behavior. Therefore, we will act instead of reacting in so many different situations. We will also begin to understand that those problems we have are the challenges that I have spoken about. They're not really adverse, they're opportune, and they will lead us to greater self-fulfillment and happiness. One of the profound benefits of meditation that occurs with regular practice is to connect with that inner strength that resides in the deeper layers of the mind. Every time we meditate, we're diving beyond the conscious and the subconscious into that superconscious self. This brings so many benefits, and as we spoke about earlier, will give us clarity, objectivity, and greater self-awareness. When these things come into our lives, we're able to see those adversities as profound opportunities to help us to grow and have a more fulfilling life. We see these as signposts that are helping us grow, unfold, and reach a new level of happiness and self-contentment. It's so easy to do, and meditation is just the perfect tool for this. My guru always used to say, there isn't a saint that was a sinner, and there isn't a sinner who will someday be a saint. We all have the capability of making errors of judgment, or perhaps doing things that are not conducive to our lives. The main reason that we make these errors is because we do not know ourselves. We have lost touch with that inner conscience. The conscience that we have within is almost like a policeman. It regulates our behavior. It tells us what's conducive to our life and what is not. We sometimes feel that people around us don't have a conscience. They perform actions without care about others and seem to have no personal conscience about their actions or what those actions will do to others. But in reality, because they do not understand themselves sufficiently, they're making these errors, and their conscience will pang them for sure at some time, if not now, but in the future. If your conscience is not at peace, you will feel guilt. The sad thing is that this feeling of guilt can dominate your thoughts and emotions and directly affect your behavior with others. I have known people who have allowed guilt to dominate most of their life and may have even gone to their grave without resolving those issues. We don't want to do that because that feeling of guilt so disturbs the peace that we can achieve within ourselves. What we need to do is, through meditation, we can bring that conscience much more to the fore and correct any errors that we have made in the past. Whether those errors have been just purely bad judgment, or that we have deliberately gone to annoy or hurt someone else, maybe in a vengeful way, we still, in the quietness of our day, will re-experiencing those thoughts simply because our conscience is not at peace. So how do we make peace with our conscience? Firstly, we may have to admit that we were wrong. This can be very humbling. We may want to reach out to the person we hurt or upset and say we're sorry. In doing so, not only will we feel better about ourselves, but we draw a humbling force to us that we would call grace. And this has a profound effect on our lives and helps us rid ourselves of those guilty feelings. We've all done things that we regret in the past. And again, this is mainly due to a lack of self-awareness. Through meditation, as you've heard me say before, we have greater self-awareness, and in doing so, we will not make the same mistakes again. If you're unable to resolve issues with the relevant parties, no problem. It's how you live your life. And if you have the opportunity, which karmically will appear in your life at some point, you will be given the opportunity to interact with others on the same basis to help you overcome this guilt. It's like a natural law is working behind us, guiding us to greater fulfillment, happiness, and peace within ourselves. So don't feel guilty about the things that you have done in the past. Guilt is a horrible experience, but we can overcome that, as I've explained here, very easily with a little bit of action, a little bit of effort. And of course, meditation brings that balance. It will help you balance out your life and your karma in a very positive, constructive way.